Hi, this is James, and I'm here with the Oracle Outlook for the week starting November the 13th, 2017. This week I wanted to work with Lenormand, and specifically I wanted to work with this deck. I was feeling a real tug for this deck this week. So the deck that's going to be assisting me is the 1889 Lenormand Oracle. It is by Jennifer Cast of For the Seekers. So I have the deck right here on the table, and I'm going to take a few moments now to shuffle the cards. And as I shuffle, I'm focusing on my regular intention and question when I do these weekly readings, and that is, what do we need to know for the week ahead? So I'm feeling that's good. I'm going to go ahead and cut the deck now and fan out the cards. And now I'm picking 5 cards, because when I work with Lenormand, I like to do a line of 5. So I'm just looking for the 5 cards in the fan that are getting my attention. Okay, and I have them picked out, so now I'm going to take up the remainder of the deck and put it aside. All right. So when I work with the line of 5, I always like to look to see what the middle card is. I read the card as the central issue or something that we're being asked to focus on for the week ahead. So taking a look at this card, here we have the fish card. Okay, so the fish card is, for me, the money card. So for some of us, we may be focusing on our finances. I tend to look at this as cash flow, so we may be needing to look at the flow of money going in and out, because the fish card for me, in addition to that, is all about circulation. So this week we're just being asked to pay attention, and it makes sense to some degree with the holidays coming up that we're being asked to pay attention to our cash flow, you know, the money that's going in, that's coming in rather, and going back out. So there's that. Now, for somebody else, there may be a focus or a concentration on one's business. And I say that because the King of Diamonds is a playing card insert on this card. And so for me, that represents the entrepreneur. So I tend to look at the fish card in that sense as well. So, and it could be even going for a twofer here. There may be an entrepreneur who's focusing on the cash flow in his or her business. And that would make sense too, because from a business standpoint, a lot of us are entering into the 4th quarter of our business, you know, and so we're maybe needing to look at things about year-end business, year-end sales, you know, that kind of thing. So, but from a general standpoint, I'm going to say that this card is about, you know, focusing on our finances and our cash flow. So that is what fish means to me. And so now what we'll do is we'll take a look at the surrounding cards to give us more information about that. I was feeling led to work with this week's reading differently than I have in the past, and so I'm going to work from the far left of the line and work over to the far right of the line, going 1 card at a time. So here we have, oh, this is interesting. So starting off the line, we have Lady. So Lady represents a woman, right? So this is a significator card. So I always say this when the significator cards come up. If you're a woman watching this video, Lady would represent you. If you're a man watching this, then the Lady card would represent a woman who is significant to the situation, or a woman who's important to you, right? So there's that. But the interesting thing here now, going with direction, if she's starting off the line, then technically she's facing a direction where there are no other cards, and all the other cards in the line are behind her. So to some degree, this could be aspects of her past that she's dealing with, or something that has recently happened, you know, that kind of thing. So now if we take the fish card, Lady and Fish, now in the case of the Lady card, every other card will either do one or two things. It'll describe more about who she is, or it will describe something that she's recently experienced, right? So if we go with the idea about the entrepreneur, then this could be a woman who's an entrepreneur, right? So there's that. If it's about cash, finances, and cash flow, this could be a woman who's wealthy, you know, because fish can represent abundance, right? So this could be a woman who's wealthy, or a woman who's having to deal with a recent financial transaction, right? So there's that with lady. So now let's take a look at the next card in between lady and fish. Okay, so here we have the scythe card. So the scythe card for me can represent something that's being cut, right? For me, I tend to look at this as a cut, a break, a disconnection, you know, something being severed because of the blade on the scythe, right? So for me, those are my go-to keywords with that. If we go with the idea here that this is behind lady, right? So here we have, and this is good too, because if we take into account lady opens a line and scythe is the next card, the blade is not facing her, right? So this could be about accumulation, because here we have what's being harvested, right? So the lady has maybe accumulated something because the harvest is closest to her. But now here's the challenge. If we go with the idea that fish represents money, then here we have maybe the possibility of liquidating assets. They showed me that analogy because the fish is underwater. So it could be somebody having to liquidate assets for some reason, right? So it could be the lady has recently liquidated her assets to some degree, or maybe has needed to make some sort of financial cuts, right? Because here we have the blade on the scythe card touching the fish card. So that could be representing what's being cut. So there could be, you know, maybe needing to maybe divide up some sort of lump sum of money, something being divided up, you know, but there could be some sort of financial cuts, you know, or that a woman has undergone some kind of hurt, pain, so sometimes this is about injury, and then maybe needing some sort of compensation for that, you know, getting money as a result of this injury. So there's a couple of ways of looking at it. So again, scythe can represent something being cut, something being severed, something being separated, something being divided. It could also be too, like, there's a possibility that somebody may need to make a swift decision, because sometimes for me this represents doing something swiftly, doing something quickly, doing something suddenly, right? So there could be that, and it may revolve around money. So those are the first three cards. And taking a look at the card on the other side of fish, oh, you can't make this stuff up. So, okay, so here we have the gentleman card, okay? So didn't we have this with last week, Lenormand? We had the man and the woman facing each other, right? So here we have the gentleman card. So we have another situation with the man and a woman this week. Okay, so now this becomes a little more clearer. So here we have it, where last week they were facing each other, right? This week they are not, right? If we put them together in the way they appear in the line, they are not facing one another. And then that would make the whole idea about a separation, possibly, and finances having to do with that, and having to liquidate assets and maybe doing some separating of cash and something like that. So it could be a situation, literally speaking, where a man and a woman are no longer together and they're working on a separation. And I will say this, if this card is between them, there is a break or a disconnection, right? So there's that, and so that's leading to the separation. There's a break, there's a disconnection, there's a separation. So that's all playing out here in the cards, right? And it's very painful. The scythe card represents being pained, being hurt, being injured, being wounded. So, and I think the big issue here is going to revolve around money. So I'm seeing that. And I think too, I'm willing to go out on a limb. I'm willing to, because if we take scythe and gentleman and pair them, the blade is pointing to him. Usually when I go like that, this is the person who's feeling the brunt of what's going on. So it's the man. It's almost too like, if we want to go with the literal sense, the scythe is coming up behind him, right? It's almost like he doesn't see it coming. I'm just saying. All right, so now the last card is very interesting because now this is the card the gentleman is facing. So let's see what's on this. Okay. So here we have the bouquet card. Now, I literally just said that the man doesn't see it coming, right? Bouquet can represent a surprise. The man is facing bouquet. So it could be a man is going to be facing a surprise in the near future because this is the card that's closest to him. Right? And it may revolve around money because now fish is behind him. Right? And then if we take the man out and we pair fish and bouquet, this could be a surprise having to deal with money. Now, I will say this. The bouquet card is a person card, much like the fish card was with the King of Diamonds, right? Remember, I started off by talking about like the idea here about being an entrepreneur, right? I'm not feeling that so much so now. But what I will say is that sometimes this card is a face card too, and it has the Queen of Spades on here. So the Queen of Spades can represent a beautiful, attractive woman. And that's who he's facing. And the lady card is on the other side, and they're not facing each other. So it could be saying too, there's a man who is separating from the lady because he has his eyes set on another woman. So I'm just throwing that out there as a possibility. And so somebody may need to deal with the ramifications of that. So that choice or that decision. So the other thing that I want to say too, if we go with the idea, because I'm bringing it back here, if we go with the idea that somebody is working on their business, right, and the cash flow in their business, there may be some sort of creative approach that they need to take with that, because the flowers or the bouquet is all about creativity, right? But it's also too about having one's talents appreciated, because I tend to look at this as a talent card and appreciation. So it could be saying too, like, as somebody's working on their cash flow, maybe getting more money coming in than going out. Maybe the circulation problem is that there's more money going out than coming in. And so if that's the case, then bouquet is saying, how can you get creative with that? You know, how is it maybe the lack of cash flow, or if there is a cash flow problem, then it could be maybe taking a look at what it is that you are offering, because maybe there's a worth problem there. Like maybe people don't see the value in what it is, and you need more people to appreciate, just like money appreciates in value or material things appreciate in value, then maybe you need to have people appreciate what it is that you are providing, whether it's a product or a service, right? So I'm seeing that. So now let's take another look at the line, one card at a time, to kind of sum things up. So we have Lady opening the line, and so Lady is a significator card. So this represents a woman. So if you're a woman watching this, this would be you. If you're a man watching this, then this would be a woman who's significant or important to you. Then we move on to Scythe. Scythe is a card that can represent something being cut, something being severed, something being divided. This for me is a separation card. So it could literally mean that there is a woman who's dealing with the process of separation, right? It could also be too, like, putting this behind her. Then there may be a painful situation she's experienced that she's working on putting behind her, putting in the past, right? So there's that with Scythe. Oh, the other thing I want to say with this, if there is something that needs our attention this week, then we may need to handle things quickly, or take a swift course of action, because I'm seeing the idea of, like, you know how you get those letters in the mail and there's sometimes they're stamped with immediate response required, I'm seeing that in my head. So with this card, it could be somebody may need to handle something and handle something quickly. Or there's a sense of something happening suddenly, or there's some unexpected nature or quality to the situation. So that's side. Moving to the fish card, I'm thinking, for me, the fish card is about asking us to focus on our money, our finances, our cash flow this week. That's my first go-to. The other thing, there may be another message for somebody who is working as an entrepreneur, you know, and then maybe you are focusing on the cash flow in your business, you know, and especially now that we're moving towards the end of the year. So there's something about, you know, focusing on Q4, which is the fourth quarter, or the year-end results in your business in terms of whether you are making a profit or whether you're going to be in the red, right? And then with the side card, it could be like literally some of us may need to be doing something with our money. Maybe we need to do some financial cuts or make some cuts, that kind of thing. So, but it's making me feel like somebody might need a break financially. Okay, now moving on to the next card. So here we have gentlemen, the other significator card. So there literally could be a situation involving a man and a woman. They're not facing each other, so they're in a state of disagreement, right? And so it could be related to money. It could be people are separating and they're having to work out the financial aspects of that separation. So there's that. And then we move on to bouquet. Bouquet, rounding out the week, could be, especially with scythe being about something sudden or unexpected, then this card could be about a surprise, right? So there could be a surprise coming up at the end of the week. In the positive sense, then this card could represent something pleasant, something wonderful, something beautiful. Could even be literally somebody maybe getting a gift, right? And wouldn't that be nice if the gift was money, right? So there's that. But the other possibility here is that this could be a person card, and it could be that there's a gentleman who has his eyes set on a very attractive, beautiful woman. Will he get her? Only time will tell. So on that note, I will end our Oracle Outlook for the week. I'm James Himm Mitchell, and as I wrap things up, I'd like to first thank you for sharing space here with me for this week's reading, and I look forward to sharing the same space with you again in our next reading together. So until then, I'm hoping that you have a wonderful and beautiful week. Take care.